What is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? It's Wednesday, hump day, getting over that hump. Just had some crazy week 2 stuff happening. Another crazy thing happened. What's up, Biggie?
Hey,
Wanted to say what's up before we get into some crazy news. You sent me some news before I even heard it, and I'm a Vikings fan. What's the news?
the big news is Cam Akers is finally gone out of Sean McVay's wrath, and we're going to see what he's really made of over there in Minnesota. With Kirk Cousins, I think he immediately becomes the best running back they have. It's an improvement on Gaskin, it's an improvement on Madison, it's an improvement on McBride. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think the people that drafted him need to be happy because he's going to have an opportunity to play now. I never understood the hype for where he was going in best ball. He was going like 50, top 60 RB. I don't think he's going to, or excuse me, top 50, top 60 overall, not RB. But overall, I just didn't think he could ever live up to that potential. But we'll see what he can do in Minnesota. I think it helps them out because they're going to have to figure out how to control the game a little bit more. And, I would love to see Kirk Cousins keep airing it out, though, personally.
Yeah, I mean, so the Rams trade Cam Akers and a conditional 2026 seventh round pick for a 2026 conditional sixth round pick.
Yeah, it's basically it's just like a swap, basically getting rid of Akers is what it sounds like. They're gonna get they're gonna get two picks in one round, and that I think it depends on how well Akers performs.
Yeah, I mean, this legitimately shows everybody that Minnesota's saying Madison's not it, or Madison can't handle the full load, and they haven't even really used Gaskin that much that I've seen. Um, and
Nor
Madison definitely is not it. He looks absolutely terrible. He's just getting lucky with these small touchdowns, but he's not doing a lot. I mean, they're not. I mean, they're really not. And on all honestly, they're not really giving him that much of a workload. And I think we saw that last year, kind of starting with with Dalvin Cook's workload because here comes Kevin O'Connell and he says we're going to be an air raid offense, and we started to see that kind of at the end of last year, going and then coming into this year, with him trading Dalvin Cook away, with them getting rid of Dalvin Cook, and just saying, all right, Madison, you're just going to be the guy, and they really didn't do anything else. They got Gaskin, but they didn't make moves for anybody big, and now it's like, all right, well, we know Madison's not good enough. We need somebody else to help us because things are happening, with the amount of turnovers that we've had this year too, and just that run game. I mean, even with the crazy receivers we have, they need somebody to at least take some of that pressure off of, the receivers and, Kirk Cousins.
Well, yeah, but Kirk Cousins is still QB1. I hope he remains QB1. I have him in several leagues, and we're going to need him to stay healthy and take us to a promised land and keep getting he's on pace for what, over 6,000 yards. Uh, we
Yep.
said we said over 5,000 before the season began. It looks like if he just keeps having to be in this situation with the lack of defense over there, uh, it could very well happen. I'm excited for, but I do think Akers helps. Maybe it does help JJ a little bit, makes people a little bit more committed to the run, helps KJ Osborne, helps TJ Hawkinson, helps all those guys.
What's up, Marcy? Yeah, I mean, but there is some news out there. Did you hear that some news, like some talks? Maybe the Jets might be trying to reach out to get Kirk Cousins. I mean, I don't think he'd leave, but there's talks about it. It's out there.
I mean, yeah, it's I saw that Kirk said something about like, that's y'all's job. He's like, I got enough, just my hands full, just thinking about the Chargers. But he said, I'd like to finish my career here, whatever that means, for whatever that's worth. He's like, I enjoy Minnesota, so take that for what it's worth. But it's out of his hands. I don't know. I don't think Minnesota would do that. They probably feel like they still have a legitimate chance after going to the playoffs. Would be that what was it, 11-win team, 12-win team, or 13-win team? Can't
Yeah,
remember, but
and they're
it's
they're
go
only
ahead.
losing because of these turnovers. I mean, you look 4 turnovers in a game. That's unacceptable. 5 too. I mean, that's very unacceptable for a team. And I
Yeah,
don't think they trade for Akers if they're going to trade away Kirk Cousins. I just don't see that.
yeah, exactly. I think they still quite believe the NFC North is theirs. I mean, despite being 0-2, or despite being 0-2, they're only one game away from the division lead, with a chance, to tie that next week. So we'll see. The NFC North isn't the power conference it has been at times. I think it's a little more open than people realize.
And I'm pretty sure that Kirk Cousins and Jordan Love are tied for the most touchdowns right now.
Yeah, they both have
They both
6.
have 6. Yeah. They're both on pace for like 51 touchdowns.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a crazy, conference or, division for us. I mean, the Bears obviously look the worst. And Detroit, Detroit did Detroit things. But yeah, I mean, Green Bay, their defense is looking better. It's just you got to hope that Jordan Love's going to throw the ball a lot more. I mean, obviously Aaron Jones not being there really affected that. And we can kind of talk about, I mean, we're going to get into some of these injuries from running backs, and that's definitely one that affected, your team 100%, him not being there. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into some stuff. Yep. So we just kind of wanted to bring that up. What's up, Melissa? What's up, Marcy? Appreciate everyone being here. We're going to talk about some running back stuff, some big injuries. As you can see, the name and the title is Running Back Devastation. So there's been some crazy stuff. We just want to kind of talk about the newest one that just happened. Obviously, this is the really kind of dearest to our heart because this is somebody that we were talking about, all off season coming into it. It was one of our guys that we thought could potentially be, the RB1, Nick Chubb. And it was really hard to see him go down, live and during our watch party. It's just like that's devastation right there alone. It was just heartbreaking, dude. Like week 2, I mean, he just dominated in week 1. Like most of the highlights I had from the reel was Nick Chubb. I mean, like he did a lot of work. And I mean, Ford came in and he looked pretty good. I mean, he looked good enough. Is he going to be that guy? I mean, that's what he's saying. He is. I mean, they brought in Kareem Hunt, right? They brought in Kareem Hunt, who's somebody. I mean, they obviously. The thing is, too, is them bringing in Kareem Hunt. Well, he was sitting out there on the waivers forever, right? He was sitting out there in free agency for a long time. He actually did go and work out with them, and then they just kind of was like, "No, we're good." And then he went out, he worked out with the Vikings, and I don't know if that's all on the teams though either. I mean, he could have been like, "No, I don't know if this contract's what I want. I don't know if I want to sit behind people, and just wait." It could have been that too. We don't know. And him going there, he knows the offense and he can catch the ball. I mean, a lot of people are going back and looking at last year's numbers with Kareem Hunt, and we got to think about this. Nick Chubb was dominating, dude. It's like, all right, he's there to come in and get some work. He comes in with Nick Chubb. Like, who do you think is going to get most of the work, right? Chubb. I mean, he's the goal line guy. Like Kareem Hunt. I mean, he's going to get. I think this is a little bit more opportunity than Jerome Ford is not Nick Chubb. I mean, he might have looked like it, but 69 yards of that total 115. I can't remember what it was. Over 100 yards. 69 of that came from one run.
Yeah,
and it was like on a broken tackle. So I mean, it's not. I mean, I'm not saying he's not good. He could definitely be the guy. I mean, I saw a lot of fab getting spent on him. I mean, for sure for priority. I mean, I'm definitely putting my priority 1 on him that in week 2, but I saw in a couple of leagues, I heard like 100% a fab. I'm like, that's a lot. That's a lot. That can really, really hurt you, when it comes to down the road when some more injuries hurt, because the season's really long. Season's really long. We're in week 2. But losing Nick Chubb, it's pretty devastating to your team. I have somebody who had him in a couple of my bigger leagues, in the auction league, I have him. And him going down, and I didn't want to spend up as much for him, so I mean, I threw my waiver, my claim out there, and there's no way I was spending over 50% of my fab on him. I mean, potentially he could have been good, but I'm not doing it. I can figure something else out. I got other people on there. There's other ways to make moves too, like especially if you're in a league where you can make some trades. If you're heavy on wide receiver, or if you're heavy. I mean, an IDP, right? If you have some big IDP players, you can maybe make a move. There's always some guys, but
I mean, and that's a This is the importance of handcuffing. You know, he wasn't available in several leagues, and actually in fantasy football sevens, there was a trade for Ford and another IDP for Isaiah Simmons. Actually happened last night or the night before, and they still wanted to go through with the trade the next day. So I just thought that that's interesting. You know, he was already owned, and some people are already stashing him, but you know, it's an interesting kind of philosophy, particularly once you get to like 14-team leagues and 16-team leagues where it's already hit or miss, so you have to have some kind of backup plan. I always try to stress that. I had Nick Chubb in several leagues, but all my best ball leagues, I have at least 5 running backs, usually 6. And fantasy football sevens, man, I still have Gibson, Hubbard, Najee Harris, and Isaiah Pacheco. So I carried 5 running backs in that league. We only get a 5 bench. So because you know I wasn't planning on Chubb going down. But I was like, if one of these running backs go down, I have, you know, support. And unfortunately, it was my lead guy, my number 1 pick. But you know, you gotta be sad. You know, we feel awful for Chubb just as a human, and just hope his same knees second time. I mean, he may be done with football. You know, I don't know. He may not come back. So
Yeah, he's had a couple of bigger injuries too. 2 years ago he had was it MCL or ACL, and he had one in college too. So I mean,
yeah, 2 years ago was just like this one. Everything blew out: the MCL, the PCL, and the
yeah,
LCL.
his knee
So,
might be.
yeah, he might
I mean,
be. So we
if
just
anybody
wish.
saw it, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, I purposely avoided. I saw it live, but that view, you know, the linemen were partially blocking it. But I say it on the air. It's like, man, he's done. I'm like, I could tell that that was a bad hit just because of knowing the game and seeing how Mika Fitzpatrick went down right there, and like, yeah, it was just bad all the way around. And I didn't want to see it, so I just hope that he does well. I hope he, recovers, and just wish him well in life. But from a fantasy standpoint, you got that remorse. You hopefully you got on the waivers. You know, got Tony Jones Jr. You know, Chuba Hubbard, Samaje P. Ryan.
Andre Miller. I mean, there's a lot. There was plenty of players. I mean, that you could have went out there and kind of
I mean,
grabbed.
they're not going to be Chubb quality. I mean, let's be clear about that. But yeah, and then you might could go after an angry Najee Harris fan, or who else is underperforming? I mean, Madison, if you want to try that. You could probably go after Dalvin Cook. Maybe people might be a little upset with him. Those are try to trade. That's part of the fun of fantasy football. Find out where you're the deepest, or where you think you could trade a position, because you obviously needing running back here. Trade a position that's not running back, and you can go out and make that position, as equal on the waiver wire, or something like that. I think that's the best way to attack it if you're not prepared at the running back position.
Yeah, I mean, some people are stressed here too, or some people might say, "Hey, this is why we do zero RB." Well, I mean, yeah, I get that too. Or you could go heavy RB because having another big guy at the top can kind of help you. I mean, yeah, you can, you know, if you lose like a Nick Chubb, you have, like I also had Nick Chubb in Scott Fishbowl, right? But I have Brees Hall and I have Bijan Robinson. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm still good. And I had, I have like Zach Moss, I have all these players that I can just fill in if I need to, but having, 2 more elite running backs there, like it's like, all right, well, that really, really hurt, but at least I have 2 more guys there that are, could have potentially be, top running backs. So it does feel okay there, but I think it hurts in your league for me big time.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's a tough one to bounce back from, but it's a
Hey,
long season.
yeah, we'll get to some of the start sit questions near the end of the show. So if you want to stick around, we'll get to your questions.
Yeah, dude, it's going to hurt any team that had him, because he probably didn't get Nick Chubb later than, I'm going to say, 20 in almost all formats. You know, it doesn't matter the format. I think that he probably is not going much later than 20, maybe 25, 26. Okay. So that's just the reality of it. But yeah, just look out there, try to make trades. Look for this upcoming bye week. Plan ahead. Week 5, we get our first bye weeks. Try to attack somebody right there that's going to be down, and offer them a position for running back on a bye that week. You can just sweeten the pot. Be like, I got you here. Here's a wide receiver and then a running back for that running back. All right, I'm helping you out this week. You just got to win the week. Maybe target a 1-4 team, or excuse me, 1-3 team going into week 5. You might find something. All right, you guys just got to be opportunistic. That's where we're at right now, and we got to do it because there's no other option. You just got to. In certain leagues, it's gone. I got outbid on a couple leagues. Looking at the auction league, I know I had somebody in. Let's pull it up just because we're both in that one. And yeah, dude, it's just you got to take a look at what's around and what's available. Yeah,
Another thing is too, like somebody out there could have been, they, with Akers just being, not out there playing. Somebody was probably like, oh shit, maybe Akers isn't going to be out there playing anymore, and they dropped him this week. He might be out there on the waivers. You might be able to go out there and find him, which is crazy. But people do it, man. People will they'll drop players, to add somebody else, the next hotness, Akers doesn't do anything, and he was out there and he didn't even play a snap, so he might have been dropped.
He might have. I mean, Jerome Ford got picked up. Tony Jones got picked up by JC. I think I had a claim in for him as well. I picked up Matt Breda. Kareem Hunt got picked up by JC. Ezekiel Elliott got dropped. So Ezekiel Elliott's had two bad weeks. You could maybe just go get him for free or trade him for a low-end roster spot and just beef up that running back room. You just got to have the running back room ready for unfortunate injuries and so forth. But yeah, so that's that, and then when I look at my team right there, just to give people comparison, I got Najee Harris. I still have to believe in him, Dalvin Cook. And then on the bench, I have McKinnon, now Breida, all right? And Aaron Jones if he does come back. So not a bad five running back room. I recommend trying to have 5 running backs. It might be hurting your roster, but it won't be at some point if you need them. And that's just the bottom line when it comes to running backs, in my opinion.
Yeah, running backs are, a lot harder to find than, receivers. It does suck when you start getting down there in receivers and, they start getting a little bit, lighter. But I feel like receivers show up. Look at that. Like Puka and Tutu, like all these receivers have just showed up out of nowhere, right? Like, and those players are like some of the top players right now. So, and they were either on the waivers or you got them like super late. So to me, it's like, yeah, receivers, they feel like they get like light later, but it's like every year. It's just receivers just show up out of nowhere and start playing. Like one goes down, somebody comes up, they're just another guy that just starts balling. It happens every single year. Harder to find running backs, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like that. Perfect case being in your league last year. I grabbed Isaiah Hodgins. He pretty much led me to a championship, and I got him week 13. They're just you got good wide receivers out there in every league, every week, just about. That's how I feel about it.
Mel says all her RBs are hurt. It happens. It can happen. That's why I said it's almost better to, be deeper on running back than receiver because, you can find receivers later, like we're talking about. But, there's been a lot of injuries, a lot of injuries to running backs of late. Obviously we saw in week 1, J.K. Dobbins goes down. Another player that was a lot of people were high on this year. He came back. He looked really good in the off season. He looked good in the preseason. And,
that's what let's J.K. Dobbins. Let's just write them down. There are a lot of running backs down this year, man.
Yeah, I got a bunch of lists right here. So J.K. Dobbins went down week 1. Another rookie went down too in week 1. Evan Hull for the Colts, who everybody was kind of like that late guy, like kind of grab him. He's got the talent. We don't know if it's Deontay. Was it Deontay Harris? What's his name? Who's the guy?
Oh, Deion Jackson.
Yeah, Deion Jackson. I was like, he's not even yeah. So and then Zach Moss, he was hurt, right? So he was just kind of out. And he was the guy I was talking about way before even the Scott Fish. I was like, just grab him. We're like, if you can grab him in the 20th round and just have him there, like if he comes back, I was like, if he does come back, we called it, like he balled, against Houston, like he did last year. So it's just like just in case. But Evan Hull goes down. He was somebody that thought could be that number 2 guy right behind Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor alone, he hits with his ankle injury. They put him on the PUP list. He's out, at least till week 4. It could be longer. They haven't really said anything. That's another big blow. Chase Edmonds goes down last week. Chase Edmonds, he's somebody for the Bucks, that was doing all right too. I mean, they got White and then him, and then he goes down with the MCL sprain, and he's out 4 to 6 weeks. So that's another running back that's out for a long time. Maybe they bring in Fournette.
Like that, he's out there. I mean, we got Barkley, we got Aaron Jones.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley, his injury, so he's out with a groin injury. No, he's out with a sprained ankle, out for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks they said he's out for. They're going to sit him for. That's
Good
a long
Lord.
time.
That is, yeah. I got Matt Breida. I'm glad I got him. He may not be the best, but he's going to get some volume. That's just how it is.
And I don't think they bring anybody in. Yeah, I mean, Melissa, that's somebody you can go look up for out there if they're on the waivers. Matt Breida, if he's out there, you could go look for him. He at least could fill in. He'll be a starter. They'll probably run more with Daniel Jones, but if you have Breida's out there, you can go grab him and just throw him in there. At least he'll get you some work. You could at least fill in for an RB spot, right? You got to do that. You don't want any open holes. Even if you get 0 points with somebody in there, it's better than. I guess it's no different, but you could still get 1 point. Anyways, Jamal Williams goes down with a hamstring, and he's out indefinitely. So there's no timetable for that. That's a pretty big blow because he was that guy that could have been there, end zone or the touchdown guy. Andre Miller's coming back though, and he's probable, but I think he's gonna. I mean, they're talking about him playing and stuff like that. Tony Jones is just somebody that I grabbed. Somebody told me earlier that he was put back on the practice squad, which I don't believe because I don't think they would go into a game with just Kendre Miller and Taysom Hill as their like running back duo. I don't think that's like something you would do.
I don't know.
Especially with Tony Jones, who just scored 2 touchdowns last week, so I don't think he's sitting him.
Taysom Hill's
yeah, Taysom Hill actually had a good week last week.
So crazy.
Scott Fish. So I'm saying he's great for best ball.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah, he really is. Don't have to think about it. Don't have to nail the week. Just there you go. Let's go.
No, I don't think. Hunt. I mean, he won't take over unless. So I was listening to the CBS guys earlier, and they were kind of talking about if Hunt comes in, they don't think he'd ever take over unless Jerome Ford looks bad, because they have a pretty tough schedule coming up, and they have a week 5 bye, and then if he comes back in week 6, he's not looking good. I think that's an opportunity where they'd be like, all right, maybe we could just put Hunt in and see what happens, but you never know. I mean, Jerome Ford could be the guy. I mean, we just don't. You don't know, like, right? They didn't really scheme for that guy. They don't really. You're scheming for Chubb. You're scheming for Nick Chubb. It's a little bit different. I mean, we'll see what happens next week. Like I said,
he doesn't look good either. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just have a heavy rotation, even Strong in there some, and try to get Deshaun Watson more play action or simple passes because he really doesn't look good as a passer in his first 2 weeks.
Trying to see what the Browns schedule. So they got the Titans next week, who have been doing pretty good on defense. Then they got the Ravens. Then they got the 49ers. And then after their bye week, they have so they got the Ravens. So they got the Titans. Then they got the Ravens. Then they have a bye week. Then they got the 49ers. And then they got the Colts suck and not so good. But that's a pretty tough schedule for Jerome.
Yeah, that's not easy. I mean, I think it became an RBBC. I really do. I think that's what it'll be going forward.
I think they do the same thing. Like, Hunt will be out there when Ford is out there, and they'll just, Hunt will go out wide, and, they'll just do some crazy stuff. That's kind of what they did with Hunt last year and the year before. I mean, that's kind of what he was used for. He actually was, when he played for KC, he was really good. He just got in trouble and they kicked him out, like he was really good. And then he came to the Browns, and he was actually pretty damn good for the Browns, that first year. I mean,
Andy Reid makes everybody look really good, though. He really does.
That's true.
Think of all the good running backs he's made look good, like Isaiah Pacheco, Jerick McKinnon, the tail end of whose career was that? Jamal Charles.
Charles.
Jamal Charles' best year with him, and then going back to his Eagle days, Westbrook putting up those numbers that he did, and he just makes running backs. He's just such a great play caller, and I think
was Sproles there too.
Man, that's a good question. I don't know, but he's just his resume shows it. He's good with running backs, but that's no discredit to Hunt. I think if he wouldn't have had the whole incident, he still could have been good, and I think he might be very relevant going forward if you have him and let's say you lost Barkley and you lost Chubb, which is possible. If you're an RB heavy kind of guy, then boom, or you're in a dynasty league and you have both of them, boom, go get Kareem Hunt. He's going to be better than almost anything else you got laying around out there. There's just not much out there in reality.
If you're somebody who is heavy on running back and you went out there to just grab Jerome Ford so nobody else could, would you be trying to sell him really high? Because I mean, people buy someone spending 100% of their fab on a player. I mean, that's like an all-time high.
He had
That's a
eight
lot.
bids. He had 8 bids in the auction league. 8 bids to get that's over half the league. There's 14 people in the league, and so that's another way of breaking it down. It just depends on. I know Hope's not a fan of it, but if the priority waiver, 8 people were willing to spend wherever they were at to go grab him. So I think that's pretty telling. Uh, Hopefully, I think he's still going to get utilized. We'll see how it's going forward. The running back position is my favorite, man. It's just there's not many great ones. It's we love watching a big run. We love watching a running back stiff arm or truck somebody. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it going forward. See what Tony Jones does. See what Jonathan Taylor does. Maybe try to go get Antonio Gibson. Try to get Jeff Wilson Jr. Just try to get some of these RBs that are in some RB committees. Some Samaje P. Ryan. You want to go Craig Reynolds? Yeah, you want to go get the Lions. Not to be confused with what's the wide receiver?
Josh Reynolds.
Josh Reynolds. So make sure you grab the right Reynolds. Although both are doing pretty good actually right now.
Yeah, I mean Reynolds he's on the injury report, but I mean so is Amon-Ra St. Brown, but they'll probably most likely play. But Reynolds has like been that big long ball guy. So with Jamal Williams not or with dang it, with Williams not being back, I mean he's
Montgomery.
No, not Montgomery, the wide receiver.
Oh yeah, the wide receiver. My bad.
With him, because he was that guy. That's what they drafted him to be, like that big long ball guy who's going to catch big long touchdowns. And Josh Reynolds is showing that he's that guy. So it's kind of nice for them to get that. Yeah, Reynolds. I mean that's the thing too. That it easily is priority, right? The same thing with FF7s. So you gotta. That's this thing too. So I'll tell you this, Melissa. Here's a little trick for you too. Say that you have to look at your priority, see where you're at on the priority waiver priority list. So if you go into if you go into sleeper, and you go to where it says league, and then you scroll down where it says waiver,
all the way past the matches.
Yep,
and
past
down
the match, it's a waiver, and then it should have like a number in like parentheses, and that's where you're at in the waiver priority. So if
JC's number 2 in his league.
So say if there's only 4 running backs that are gonna go off the board and you're at waiver priority 5, right? There's only like 4 players that you think, but you still need a player, right? Basically, what I would say is don't use your waiver. Don't claim anybody, right? Don't put a claim in for anybody. Wait until waivers go through. Once the waivers go through, you're on. Now it's a free agency, right? Now you can pick up players and it doesn't affect your waiver priority. So everybody who just picked up from the waiver, now you move up the list.
That's how
you save your waiver priority for different weeks. That's it's a good tip that I don't know if a lot of people talk about. So even if you're on fab, even if you're bidding fab, if you're higher on the waiver priority and you and somebody else bid the same amount, you win that bid. So it's always nice to have the higher waiver priority regardless. So don't waste that waiver priority if you're not going to be able to get somebody. Like if you're bidding fab and you think you're like, all right, well, these people, I mean, I'd still go put out the bid, but don't overbid people unless you really need that player. Like think about what your budget is, like for weeks. Like if you're like, all right, I'm probably not going to spend over 50% of my budget that's left on this player this week. Even though I know I mean, this is a good player that could be out there, but I don't think that it's worth that risk of spending, 75% of my budget, and, people are probably going to go out there and spend that, but it's nice to still get out a claim just in case, people forget or they just don't do it. So it's smart always to get a claim in, but don't just go in and put a bunch of claims, hoping you get somebody that's like way down on the list, right? Because that affects your waiver claim priority. I mean, it's taken me a long time to realize how that really works, but that's how it works.
Yeah, if you're patient with it, you can go grab the number one waiver pickup of the season. And I
Let's
also
see.
kind of do it. Also kind of do it another way. Sometimes I'll put in 3 or 4 waivers, just knowing that I'll get them, or I'll get at least a couple if people are sitting. So it works
Yeah,
both
see,
ways.
Mel
So
says she's at the bottom again. She was at 4. So like if you would have waited, yeah, she's like, yeah. So yeah, I mean, so this is a life lesson. This is what stuff you're gonna learn. Like this is how you're gonna learn, right? By being in our shows, asking questions, hearing stuff like that, paying attention. Yeah, you
wait,
don't have
who
to
did,
wait till Thursday. So waivers go through after
she got
after
Matt
Tuesday.
Breda. She got Matt Breda though. There were 2 claims on it, and she had the higher claim, so it worked out in
Yeah.
her favor this time.
Yeah,
So
you got Breda, so you're good. But every time you take one person, you drop down to so if more people go, you just follow the line up, It's like basically you get on the ride, get you right, and then you get to the back of the line and you wait your turn. So if you don't get on the ride and people go around you to get on, you just move to the front of the line and you wait,
Oh yeah,
right
man.
into that front spot. No, I
Yes,
mean
sir.
you didn't mess up. If you got Breda, I mean you're still fine. I mean he might have maybe if 2 people put a claim on it, that means that you still did good. If nobody had put a claim on it, that means that you probably still could have got him afterwards. But when waivers go through, either you have to be there waiting, to just jump on. So once waivers go through, it's a free agency. And I mean, at least I know in most of the leagues I'm in, there's some leagues where after that goes through, it's they do waivers every day. Some leagues do that, but most majority of leagues will do, free agency after, and then once they play, then they lock. So it's just nice to know stuff like that. It's kind of a little trick of the trade. I mean, you'll live and learn. There's things you'll make mistakes, and you'll drop a player. Like I ended up dropping Marvin Mims for freaking defense, and that hurts. Even though defense, helped me get a win, but like Mims goes off, and he's had the highest percentage of routes ran for like receivers this week. So it's like, damn it.
Yeah, I dropped.
Like I said, you live and learn with stuff. It's playing. I mean, it's like playing any game. You got to learn how to play it.
Yeah,
It's a
and then
game.
see here, I picked up Mims. See, here's a perfect example of what I did. I had 3 waiver claims in. I obviously had one in for Matt Breda. I think that was me, Mel, that you beat out. And then I had one in for a little sneaky guy right here called Carl Granderson, who's had a sack in each game, plays for New Orleans, has dual designation in fantasy football sevens. I lost Shaq Thompson. Want to talk about another injury, broken fibula, fractured fibula,
Yeah,
dude.
that's big.
Yeah, he's done for the season, man. So might as well go ahead and get somebody else. And then Tony Jones got picked up behind us. And then, like I said, I picked up Marvin Mims, but it dropped me all the way back to the waiver priority. See, that's the thing about kind of being in the middle of the waiver priority. So you went to 12, Mel. So there's still 13, 14, 15, 16 behind you, even though you put in a waiver priority because people after you put in a waiver priority too. So you move up each time, all right? So some people never put in a waiver claim. They're either in too many leagues or, feel good about their team or whatever. So sometimes like you'll see 1 or 2 or 3, and that may not mean that they're going to put in a waiver claim. That's just kind of the nature of the beast, so to speak. But yeah, I think that's they're both interesting strategies. They're fun, and you can pick people up. Kareem Hunt got picked up. He made it through all the waivers and just got picked up 10 hours ago.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
and
there's
like
people out there in different leagues. That's all I was gonna say. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, and like I said, if you don't put in a waiver claim or like after the waivers go through, it's free for all. Like after you can go out there now. If there's anybody out there with that green plus sign by their name, you can add them to your team without any penalty. It doesn't hurt your waiver priority. I mean, either you have to drop a player or if you have somebody, if you have a spot available because you had someone dropped IR, I mean, you can just go grab somebody. But if there's that yellow, so if somebody had gotten dropped after waivers, it's 2 days usually. So then by Friday, I think you can pick them up, or Thursday, right? Thursday or Friday, right? So
Yeah,
if they have that yellow sign by their name, that means they were dropped at some point, and that means you have to wait for that. And here's the thing: is like just go put that's something you can go put a waiver. It's like it's a player. Like I dropped Mims right during that. So now Mims is going to be sitting out there for 2 days, and I might have to go back and try to grab him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if there's
Marvin
players
Mims, baby.
I don't know, you'll learn tricks of the trade. Like this, I was listening to one earlier. It's like if they asked if they should drop Daniel Jones, like in a 1 QB league, and it's like if he has another pooper, like if he had another pooper, or I think he has a hard week this week. Like if he has a bad week, people probably won't go out and put a claim on him, and you can still just go get him back. I mean, there's strategies you can think about. Like, is there a player on my team that I know will probably have a bad week, right? And then he'll probably still be out there, and I can go back and get him. Like, there's always tricks. I mean, it's a game, right? This is a game we're playing, and there's always strategies. There's always so there's not one certain way to play this game. That's why we always talk. It's nice to have different people on to have talking, and because everyone has a different way to play. So
I mean, it is luck and it is strategy. If you can, there's a lot of tricks of the trade, and then if you watch film and you're just like certain like this one player is going to go off, and you have them on your team or on your bench or on the waiver wires, and you go get them and they go off. Well, that was luck, but that's also great preparation, and looking at that. So that's what you can do is have great preparation, have a little bit of strategy with how you do roster management, and be lucky. It's a big part of it, being lucky, man. And what are your thoughts on Ty Montgomery? Is he worth any kind of look at all?
Where's he playing now?
Patriots, baby. Let me read you his stats.
I mean, I don't really think so.
He's gotten 6.74 points. He had 7 yards and 2 receptions on 9 yards week 1, and he didn't have anything last week. So
yeah, why do you want him? I mean, Ramondre, what's wrong with Ramondre? Nothing's wrong with him.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. They were talking about getting some deep dive in here. You do have Keontae Ingram, man, had negative 0.4 in game 1 with negative 4 yards rushing, and then he had 6 yards rushing.
And he plays the Rams, right?
He plays for the Cardinals. He is the handcuff. He is the handcuff to James Conner. If you do have James Conner and you need a spot, you might want to go get him under cheap if you have a deep like bench. What about a legitimate running back? Let's get a little more serious here. Harris for Buffalo, Clyde Edwards-Helaire for Kansas City.
Yeah, Mel was asking that question earlier. Let me pull that up.
I mean, I'm okay. I'm okay with either one of them, but I mean, Harris has only had 1 attempt in the first game, and then he had 7 this game for 33 yards in his last one and 1 touchdown. So, I mean, if he's going to be the goal line back and maybe they're trying to protect Allen a little bit more, not let him throw so much, I think Harris is a viable guy. I mean,
I think if he's out there for sure. I mean, when he played for the Patriots, he was actually pretty damn good. I mean,
yeah, I thought so as well. So,
his problem was injury and fumbling, but he can still. I mean, he can still hit that long ball. I mean, he hit the hole. I mean, he hits the hole, he's gone. I mean, he's still got that speed. I mean, I think he's viable. Go throw him out there and just see what happens. I mean, Clyde got a lot more work than McKinnon. McKinnon might be. He might be somebody that might be out there dropped too, because people might be getting pissed off that he hasn't done things 2 weeks in a row. So he might be somebody that's gotten dropped too. But Pacheco is the he's got a little hamstring thing going on with him too. So I mean, maybe if you want to go grab Clyde, I mean, Clyde did get some work. He did get more work than McKinnon did in week 1, week 1.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that, but that's the truth. And he is right now. He's got to get he's worth the roster spot in these deeper leagues. Like Mel being in fantasy football sevens, you only got five bench spots. Okay, so you got to kind of pick your poison. Right now, you got 3 wide receivers on your bench, Jamal Williams on your bench, and Noah Gray on your bench. Well, you should be able to put Beckham or Williams probably in the IR spot in this league. In this league, if they become doubtful or out, you can put them on the IR spot. In other leagues, They have to be like legitimately on the IR before you can put them on the IR spot. So
I hate
I hate that too. And then
Nick
once
Chubb is out, and I can't put him on the IR. I'm like, what? Did you see his leg? He's done. Are you serious? How can I not put him in the IR?
dude, I don't get it. But like for Mill, as soon as Williams or Beckham are declared out or doubtful, you should be able to put them right back in the IR and go get somebody else if you want. And Noah Gray, I don't know. You are an opponent of mine in this league, so can't give you too much info. But he could. You're right. He is probably an important piece to have because you do have Patrick Mahomes, and if Kelsey for some reason gets hurt again, he's going to become an important piece of that offense as he's shown. Mel has 4 Chiefs, so she's riding against the Bears this week.
I think you could drop Noah Gray. She has Noah Gray.
Yeah,
you could probably drop him. There's plenty of tight ends you can find. I'm telling you. I mean, people, I guess. I mean, what is it? 0.5 tight end premium in your league, right? 0.5.
No, I don't think there's any tight end premium. Just half.
Yeah, dump him, Mel. Kick him to the curb. Tell him you don't want him in your life anymore. Kick that guy to the curb. Yeah, you can go get Harris. You can go get Damian Harris. So like I said, a green plus sign next to a player's name means you can pick them up.
Yeah, and he has it. You could do that. I'm just not trying to give you all the running backs. It did feel good. I was a top scorer in our league, just to tell you how competitive our league is. In Africa, the top scorer, that's JC's league. JC's 2-0. He's going to be in the game of the week. He doesn't know it, but he's got a pretty big matchup against a fellow sports affiliation ex-member. So wish them both well. But we got 2-0 versus 2-0. But the leading point scorer was 285 in that league. I was the leading scorer in Mel and I's with 254. So it is a really competitive league over there that we are in Antarctica, and the talent is stretched in. There's not much at any position. It's kind of interesting. A lot of roster moves. I love it. It makes fantasy football fun, I think.
What did Damian Harris do last week? Anything?
Dude, I just told you. No, he got 6 carries and a touchdown. And obviously the touchdown helps. You know what I'm saying? But you can't. If he doesn't get near the goal line, I don't know how much he's going to have. Cook gets a lot of value.
I go grab Damian. If it's me, I'm going to go grab Damian. I think you're going to have more upside with that for touchdowns. Like I said, he's the touchdown guy. I mean, but Josh Allen likes to vulture touchdowns. But I mean, if they're a little bit further out, I think they give it to Damian, or like they don't want to hurt. They don't want to hurt James Cook. So they're not going to.
He got 12 points last week in the fantasy football sevens, 12.03. If he gets 10, 12, 14 every week, you're going to be happy with him as your RB2. So he is playing Washington this week. Could be a tough front seven to run against, but
I think that here's the thing, like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the move if Pacheco is out. So if Pacheco ends up sitting, with the hamstring injury, which hamstrings can be weird. I mean, they can be, things can, that's something that's, especially if you're cutting back, you got to push from the inside of that leg. They can flare up. So I mean, Clyde, would get the work. McKinnon's, that guy who gets those crazy catches. He was on a big touchdowns, roll for a little bit. But what's up, Greg? Clyde could be that guy. I mean, Harris, like we said, he got that touchdown last week. That helped him. If Clyde got the touchdown, that same thing. Depending on touchdowns is really hard to depend on in fantasy football.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't get a touchdown. He has 22 rushing yards and 24 receiving yards on 3 receptions. But that's it. So he's only scored 3.4 and 2.7. I mean, that is a low floor. I mean, but that's just that's the reality of the running back room right now. I mean, are you going to go grab Tyson Chandler? Are you going to go grab Deuce Vaughn? I mean, I'm not.
Maybe Deuce Vaughn.
Let's look at his stats real quick.
He gets some catches, and I mean, he gets some run. I mean, he's the back. I mean, he
got 4.7 points last week with 3 rushes, 16 yards, 3 receptions, 16 yards. So if you're in a PPR league, that's a little more beneficial, I guess. But that would be a hard start for me to go That's what we've seen so far in 0.8. They're playing Arizona, so they might blow them out. We'll see. I mean, there's just not a lot out there. There's Rodell, Michael Carter for the Jets, Strong for the Cleveland Browns, who I had to go out and spend a lot of money for. I don't know what's ahead of him for him, but if he's a goal line back, he's a goal line back. And Mel did go grab Brieda. She dropped Noah Gray, or grabbed Harris, excuse me. So she's got Harris and Brieda. I think you have two of the best running backs in our league together, Mel, as far as what was available off the waivers. And you didn't even lose Nick Chubb, so I don't know what you're so worried about right there.
I don't know if Foot Legends is still here, but we can answer his question. Should we start Nico Collins? Or she said, should I start Nico Collins, Hunter Henry, Josh Reynolds, or Dalvin Cook? Or let's say I think it's Pierce.
Nico, what were the other options?
Nico Collins, Hunter Henry, Josh Reynolds, Dalvin Cook, or it says Pierre. I wouldn't think it's Pierre Strong because I'm not starting him. Could be Damian Pierce.
Oh,
I think I'm going Nico. I think I'm going to go Nico Collins. I mean, right? Yeah. Nico Collins and Tank Dell, man. That's another player. If Tank Dell is out there on the waivers, I'm picking him up, man. I'm gonna tell you right now, CJ Stroud. If he can keep throwing for over 300 yards, I mean, he's hucking the ball, dude. Like he threw a lot last week, and Dell and Collins were the beneficiaries. It was pretty crazy. Their running game is not getting going. So I mean, those receivers are balling. So yeah, for me, the upside for Nico is like above all these other players. I mean, Pierce, they got to get the ball going. I mean, they can't. He doesn't look good. I mean, the rushing game doesn't look good. Like the game looks fire.
Who are the Jets playing this week?
The Jets?
Yeah, I'm gonna click on Michael Carter right here. New England? I guess that makes sense, yeah. New England at home? Yeah, shoot, dude. That's not be tough for Dalvin Cook. Yeah, I'm leaning Nico too. Give me Nico there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just, man, he looks so damn good. Let's see, they play the Jags though. Jags been looking pretty fire. Their defense has been looking pretty money. But I think I'm gonna go Nico. I just think that Dalvin Cook doesn't look as great as we thought he would. Breece Hall, I mean, if he doesn't play, I mean, he is, on the injury report with his knee stuff, but I mean, he's played the last 2 weeks and it's done pretty sufficient. Nico or Breece? Okay, so this is tough for me just because if Breece does play, it's hard for me to sit Breece Hall because we know what Breece Hall can do now. I mean, he's been looking pretty good. And before his injury, he was like, when it's a rookie, he's probably on pace to be a top 10 back. I mean, he looked really, really good. I think I'm still going to go. So if this is a non-PPR league, I'm definitely going to go Breece. But if it's a PPR league, it's tough. I mean, Nico's been balling, man.
I'm going Nico. I think I'm going Nico. I think they're going to have a negative play script playing against Jacksonville. So I think he's going to catch a lot of passes.
Yeah, let's see here. Last week, so yeah, see Damian Pierce, man, 15 carries for 31 yards. That's really bad. 2.1 yards per carry. Nico Collins, man, 7 receptions for 146 yards, a touchdown.
Yeah. Negative play scripts, they really help.
That's the ceiling is really good, Yeah, let's go. It's PPR, I'm assuming, Greg. So I'm gonna go Nico. I'm gonna agree here with my. All right, I gotta take that from you. All right, what else? We got any other questions here? We can still talk about some other injuries. So also Austin Eckler, dude, he's another guy that is technically out indefinitely. That's something that I a little bit worry about. See, this is something that I should have been listening to, right? Austin Eckler, he's somebody who he likes to try to draft himself in fantasy leagues, and he didn't get himself a lot this year. So it's a year we should have been listening to him. This isn't going to be his year. We shouldn't be drafting him. Shouldn't be drafting him.
That's scary. Yeah, I think I hope he bounces back. The NFL's better when Austin Eckler's healthy.
Yeah, Greg says Nico for him. Oh, here we go. Anthony says I can start 4 or 5. 4 or 5. Tyreek, Amon-Ra, who's on the injury report, but he'll play. Devonta Smith, Keenan Allen, or Puka. First world problems. Man.
Well, who is after Devontae Smith?
Keenan Allen,
Man,
and
you
then
gotta
Puka.
start. You gotta start 4 of them.
Yeah, start 4 of them.
There's no way. There's no absolute way you can bench Keenan Allen against the Vikings. I mean, that would be not smart.
Dude, Bynum is looking really good. I just picked him up in a couple. I think in your league. I'm pretty sure in your league. Bynum, he's been looking really good in the backfield.
They got torched, dude. I'm starting Allen. I'm still starting Tyreek Hill. I'm still starting Devontae Smith at all costs. So it's really between Puka and ASB, in my opinion.
Yeah, Amon-Ra is on the injury report. That's the only thing. So at this moment, you're sitting Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's crazy to say, but yeah.
Greg says sit the sun god.
Yeah, and that's a Lions fan. So that's 3 people in agreement. So
Andrew, I heard that. I know Coach Craig was telling me that you had some questions, man. So I know you come throw them in here if you got some turf. I don't know if it's turf toe, but I know he's got toe injury. So if it's turf toe, yeah, I'd definitely be a lot of worried about that. But if it's just a small toe injury, he'll either be out this week and be back next week. But yeah, with those choices, you're definitely gonna be sitting Amon-Ra, All right, so some probables this week. Kenneth Gainwell should be back. That's going to be, getting back to a committee, right? We saw what, what's his name?
Swift.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift balled out, but also Boston Scott ended up getting hurt in that game too, and Swift benefited from it. And it was crazy. It's like but the whole rushing game wasn't even there in the first half. They just got worn down. Defense got worn down. It's tough, when you're out there the whole time after, Minnesota's out there putting balls on the ground left and right, giving up the ball. Your defense is going to get worn out after a while. So they just kept running the ball, I don't think Swift ever. I mean, that's this right now. Swift is somebody I'm selling, this is an all-time high for Swift. Like, he's never been putting points up like this. I'm selling right now, especially with Gainwell back me because they liked Gainwell before, from week 1. They were like, Swift.
I love Gainwell. The only person that I think has matched my enthusiasm for Gainwell is TD. It's just somebody I've been really high on, and I'll continue to be high on him. But I thought Swift was the perfect best ball running back. And I knew these spike weeks were coming. They went and got him for a reason. It's just how long can he stay healthy, and hopefully, if they use other running backs more, he can stay healthy, longer. As far as that, that's how I'm looking at it.
That's kind of been their theory all along, man. They've had they roster 4 or 5 running backs and they keep them, active, at all times, and they have Hurts at the runs. It's almost worse than New England. At some point it is. I mean, they had Miles Sanders forever, right? And Miles Sanders was somebody who wasn't even getting the full workload. That was somebody that we could say another guy that we came out when he came out. We were like, this is gonna be the next big guy. Just didn't pan out. Sucks.
Do you think
he's also on the what's up?
Do you think Deontay Foreman will be a healthy scratch this week?
Foreman, probably.
That's so weird to me. They played like crap. Herbert only got 7 carries for 24 yards. If that was your plan for not having
Roschon did terrible too. Yeah.
I don't think it's a smart call.
I think it's the coaching staff, man. I don't know if it's really, or maybe it's just the ownership, because how many first round picks do you have at quarterback, that just shit the bed? You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of first round quarterbacks that come into your franchise and just suck. And Fields is not bad. I mean, he's probably making some bad decisions, not looking around the field, but is that all him? Is that really all him? Who's he learning from, right? I mean, he's still a young kid. He's still got to learn stuff from the NFL, coaches, right? Yeah. I mean, Herbert was somebody that I was worried about coming into the NFL just because he didn't go through his progressions in college. He was just basically that one guy who would really look for his first read, and then he just knew somebody else would be open. He didn't really just pan through. And I think that's something that Fields is having an issue with this year. You clearly saw it last week where he missed some really big, wide open. I think it's either DJ Moore or Mooney, somebody wide open, running right up the middle, and he ends up taking a sack. That's
you got preparation and being aware and coaching, like you said. That's a big part of it, dude.
all right. So Andrew's in the chat real quick. Let's get some of these questions. Oh yeah, Puka said you have Oblique. Yeah, I think he's on there too. I think a lot of these guys will still play. A lot of these guys will still play, especially if they're on that team, because your staffer will be like, dude, I'm old and I'll be out here playing if I'm hurt. So get out here and play. So Andrew says start Connor versus Dallas or White versus Philly.
Connor versus Dallas or White versus Philly.
Greg says, can you bench both Connor and White? If not, start White.
Yeah, that's a tough call. I think I got to go Connor, even though that's a better defense. I just think Connor gets more volume.
Yeah, I don't know if I would want to sit Connor anyways. He's been balling, and crazy too is not only he's been doing good. Josh Dobbs gets out there and rushes the ball too, so it takes a little bit away from them just thinking it's going to be a running back running the ball. So I still think that James Conner, he another guy who said he came out at the beginning of the year before the year started and says, make sure you draft me in fantasy because the only players behind me don't even deserve to be on XFL teams. That's what he said. So at that point, it's like, man, see, those are the guys I kind of like in fantasy too, who are very confident. But we should have watched that thing with Eckler. That's something we should have saw. He didn't. He said, I didn't get to draft myself. It's like, all right, I'm not drafting you either. You're gonna try less. I'm just kidding. They don't do that. They might, but they don't. I hope they don't. What else we got? Anything? Yeah. Fields had 0 pocket presence in his game. Still got to be able to throw in the NFL. Yeah, I mean, he did make some really good plays in week 1, but you're right. Week 2, he looked pretty damn rough. I mean, they played the Bucks. The Bucks played pretty damn. Their defense played really good against Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. So I wouldn't say that they're not a bad defense because they definitely made us look pretty, not the greatest. And I think that really, really shook, Fields, man. Him not having a good week 1 and then going into week 2 against a Bucks team, down there and just we'll see as the year progresses. I mean, if he just gets worse and worse, then it's like what's crazy though is like in a 1 QB league, I had drafted Fields like in the 8th or 9th round or something like that, just because I was like, all right, well, I saw the upside last year. I saw him put up some 40 point games. Like that's that if he can do that at least 4 more times, I'm good. Well, this week I was lucky enough that nobody else went out and grabbed Kirk Cousins. So I got Kirk Cousins off the waiver wire. And he's the number 1 QB in the league right now. So pretty happy about that.
That's insane to be able to do that, dude.
Oh, yeah, I like that. And it's only a 10-team league, but
you like that?
In that same league, though, I saw, so that this was the question earlier. So I did see that Anthony put in the chat, he's still, buyer beware on Kareem Hunt. Well, what would you rather take? If neither one of these players hit, Jerome Ford at $71 out of 100, or Kareem Hunt for $16.
Kareem Hunt.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the value is. I mean, if you're going for the value, I mean,
yeah. I mean, the
Ford
for him to be worth what you
already, right? You're spending all that money for somebody going into a huge, crazy tough schedule. Like, if he ain't good, after they play, their next 4 weeks, he's out, and one of those weeks is a bye week, so it's a pretty tough schedule. Pretty tough schedule. What else we got in here? Yeah, legit injury. I know Eckler, because I'm gonna say I did draft Eckler in a couple of leagues. I wasn't super high on him, just because he's more dependent on catching the ball. I mean, he's like Alvin Kamara. He's like an Alvin Kamara type running back. You're then dependent on the yards, depending on a lot of catches, and he still does get touchdowns. He still does run the ball, but that can wear down a running back. So it is still, you're taking that risk on that. Somebody who catches the ball. It's the same thing with Debo, right? It's that dual threat type player. That's why he wanted to get paid more, because he's doing more. But those players end up getting hurt. We see it with Debo too. Like, it happens. What else we got in here? Oh, here's Andrew says start Pickens, Zay Flowers, or Amari Cooper. Currently starting Ridley and Puka. Yeah, and anybody said Ridley had the bad week last week, or his down week. He had 2 touchdowns in the red zone that didn't count because he didn't get both feet in. He got 1 foot in and pushed out. So he's getting a lot of red zone targets. I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm excited for Calvin Ridley. Anybody who said if there's anybody in your that's down on Calvin Ridley right now this week, I'd be trying to go trade for him. It's a good time for it because he's not. I mean, he's good. He's really good. His upside is what you saw in week 1, and he's still got two basically dropped touchdowns. Like week 2, if he has those 2 touchdowns, I mean, he's top receiver again.
No,
I mean, I don't go. Yeah, just don't. Here's another thing. Don't just look at stats. If there's a way that you can at least somehow go back and watch a little bit of film, it's nice because stats don't say everything. I mean,
yeah, you got to look at the whole
knowing
story.
what was out there, the potential points that were left on the field is also another thing to know for knowing who's out there for players. What else do we have in here? Anything else we got? Greg says Dallas defense is scary. What do you think of Craig Reynolds? I know he's on the injury report too, Greg, as a Lions fan. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we were talking about him earlier. He's that big play guy, right? He's the guy that's supposed to be going out there and catching those big balls, big bombs, right? And he's been doing pretty well. First Dallas, yeah, it's kind of scary. How's it? What's your thoughts on the secondary there? I mean, Diggs. I know Diggs had kind of an off year last year, but what are your thoughts now on their secondary? I mean, they played really. I mean, I feel like last week. They got some. I mean, week 1 they got some interceptions, but a lot of that was because there was a lot of pressure in the front.
Yeah, I think that's the answer. Is their front 4 always makes the secondary better. I think that Gilmore, Diggs, Wilson, I believe that's a pretty formidable secondary. They don't have to worry about too much over there, in my opinion.
Greg says that means he didn't have any TDs, JC. Yeah, but opportunity for a player that has the talent. When we talk about opportunity for talented players versus opportunity versus Alexander Madison's, there's a big difference. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Calvin Ridley's not somebody I'd ever. I mean, Christian Kirk, yeah, I got a lot more volume last week. I mean, somebody's got to catch the ball. Somebody's got to get targets. I mean, we know what Trevor Lawrence is. He's gonna huck the ball, man. He's gonna throw the ball a lot. So, and ETN's been balling too, man. ETN's been doing pretty well. Tank's been taking a little bit of a backseat, but he's still somebody I don't know if I can drop yet because ETN can get hurt, and then the amount of volume that he's been getting, Tank, we know he can come in and be that guy too. So I don't think I can if I'm in a somewhat of a little bit deeper. I mean, if you have like 18 roster spots, I think I'm keeping him on my bench because he's somebody too, like like a player like that or Tajay Spears, like players like that. If the person in front of them goes down, because Tajay's getting work still too. Tajay's getting work, so he's another guy that I would just keep, just in case something happens. Curse of 370. Something might happen to Derrick Henry, right? Greg thinks so. I mean, I definitely think that those players like that are somebody you keep on your bench. Yeah, what are you talking about, Fitzpatrick? And it can't be Ryan Fitzmagic because by the way, did you see that the commercial for Little Caesars with George Kittle and Cameron Jordan and Ryan Fitzpatrick?
I think so. Yeah.
They're in like a press conference, and there's a.
They're like nothing.
What have you done in this offseason? He's just like, he's daydreaming. It's just them 3 like rolling around, like eating pizza and shit, like the tandem bike, and them eating the pizza in the park. It's so funny.
Pizza parlay, baby.
Pizza parlay. Oh man, we should get that going real quick. I forgot to even talk about that. Let's get those going real quick. I didn't even get that stuff from last week. I'm sorry, y'all. I've been so dang busy. Once the day job is gone, a lot more going on. So pizza parlays. Anybody that's in here real quick, let's get these parlays going. I should have talked about that like 20 minutes ago, so we should have got people getting their parlays in. So pizza parlays is something that we're getting back going. Pizza parlays. So what's better than having pizza while you're watching football, right? They go great together. They're meant to be together. So we got our guy Iggy who likes to do some betting here. We don't do any money on this. Maybe eventually down the road we'll start giving some stuff away for it. But we'd like to get more participants going with this. This is something we're going to try to make into something big. We might get this made into something. So Pizza Parlays, let's get this going. So what you got to do is you pick 3 teams to win their games, versus the money line. So pick any 3 teams that you think this week is going to win their game, right? In week 3. And then after you pick those 3 teams, build your pizza. You get the cheese for free. You get the crust for free. You get the sauce for free. You can even tell us what those are if you want, if there's a specialty sauce or crust or cheese that you want. But then pick your toppings. You get 3 toppings, right? So you pick your crust, cheese, and then your sauce, and then say whatever 3 toppings you want on your pizza. 3 teams to win, your parlay. 3 toppings, your pizza. Get your pizza parlays. Let's get them going. Throw them in the chats. Throw them in the chats. We can talk a little bit about too. I didn't even get any of mine going. Let me pull the games up.
Yeah, let's see. I can build one real quick here.
Let me see. All right, so Thursday night's game, we got Giants and 49ers. Sunday game right in the morning, we got Falcons, Lions. Then we got Chargers, Vikings, which should be, I think, a very high-scoring game because those defenses suck.
I don't know. The Falcons are pretty good.
I'm talking about Chargers and Vikings.
Oh, Chargers, Vikings, yeah.
It should be a extravaganza. Lots of points. So make sure you get in the chat. Throw it in the chat. If you're in here and you want to be in the chat and you aren't subscribed, just get subscribed. You can start chatting with us right away. It's free. Hang out with us almost every day. Basically, we're doing some videos. So get your parlays built. 3 teams you think are gonna win. Get your pizzas built. We already know what Mel likes on all meats on her pizzas. Parsons and Mahomes. Mika Parsons and Mahomes love, she said. So she's got, let's go, Mel. Mel's got Dallas, and we already know she's going to pick the Packs. And she's got Kansas City. Marcy in the chat. She's got Cowboys, Niners, Falcons. And her pizza, she is building sausage, onion, and beef. Where's the beef?
Where's the beef? Where's the D? Let's
Farquad. Farquad says Bills, Texans for the upset, and Lions. Oh, this is the crazy pizza. You ready for this one?
I mean, lay it on me.
Anchovies, onions, and capers.
Yeah, I had just a capers pizza once. It was awful.
Capers are crazy, dude.
I like capers, but when it's the only ingredient, man, that's rough. All right, here's mine. I built mine right now. Ravens, Seahawks, Jaguars. Basically just taking on the rookie quarterbacks again. It's a good philosophy for betting if you want to look at it. Comes out to +128. Not sure if you can see it. I just put a free bet I lost on my baseball bet tonight, but it was $2 back, so I just put it on this. So positive money if it hits. I'm happy about it. 3 favorites, 3 rookie quarterbacks. Bring it on. And 3 home games. I didn't realize that. The Ravens are at home, the Seahawks are at home, the Jaguars are at home. So I love it.
Tell us your pizza. What do you got for pizza for me?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll just keep it traditional. I made my favorite last time. I'll just make a margarita, man. Tomatoes, fresh mozzarella, and cheese, with the olive oil. Gotta love it.
My mom doesn't like any tomato sauce on her margarita pizza.
Yeah. To me, a margarita pizza is all like oil, not tomato paste. So that's how. I mean, I love that pizza. It's one of my favorites. It's like really light. I could eat slice after slice of it, and I can eat slice after slice of these wins. We got to keep them coming. So, you writing them down?
Yep, I'm getting them right now. So we got Greg in here too. So Greg's got 49ers,
Yeah,
Jags. Yeah, we got a lot of Jags. I'm going Jags too. And I'm gonna go Vikings. Oh, let's go real quick. A classic 3-meat, pepperoni, sausage, and bacon. That's what Greg's hitting it up with.
love it, Greg.
I'll get some of these up on the board so y'all can kind of see what we're looking for. Anybody else that's in here that's new, like I said, we're gonna start doing this. I'm gonna start taking a tally, and once we start getting more, I will add these up. I'll give you some bonus points. But once we start getting more people going, I want to do some jersey giveaways. I want to do some merch giveaways. We got stickers. We can give cards away. Like I want to start doing this for everybody that's hanging out with us. So we'll make some contests, and like I said, it's betting, but it's free betting. Like there's no money involved. It's all for fun, like bragging rights. So, and we'll just give something away.
It's not necessarily betting as much as it is predicting. It's like
Predictions.
who do you think's gonna hit?
All right, so I am gonna go since I like disappointment. Since I like disappointment, I'm gonna go with the Vikings, and they're gonna get their first win against the Chargers. Sorry, Rico. Sorry, SoCal. I know it'll be depressing going 0-3 to start the year, but yeah, I'm gonna take the Vikings there, and I'm also gonna go with the Jags, and I'm also gonna take my other team, the Seahawks. And I am gonna go with let's do
Definitely a Homer pizza for you for sure.
It is a Homer pizza. It is a Homer pizza. But I'm gonna make it spicy since I like it. This is gonna be a little spicy. Let's go with jalapenos. I want to get some cream cheese on there and some bacon. It's jalapeno popper pizza.
I can dig it. I can dig that, man.
There you go. Mel said Minka Fitzpatrick worth a pickup.
Minka Fitzpatrick? Yeah. I mean, he's hurt, so he may not play.
He got hurt on the Chubb play, didn't he?
I think he tried to play some more. No, he got hurt on that where he saved it from being a touchdown and he shoestrung it and that dude's foot went into his chest.
Oh. Yeah, this was fun, Iggy. I like doing these shows on Wednesday. It's nice, chill hangout show. Get some people in here talking some stuff. If anybody's got any more questions, we're gonna start getting some more stuff going out through the TSA Twitter page and stuff. So I'm gonna start getting some stuff out. We'll get I'll start pinning it and stuff to the page where we can just do some if anybody has any questions throughout the week, they can answer us. Make sure y'all check out Bettor Vision, right? Go check out Bettor Vision. Check the app out. It's free. You can download for free. I think right now can you get it on the Android? Have you tried it on Android? I know for sure you can get it on Apple on the iPhone.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you have an iPhone, just try it out. I mean, especially if you're in if you're not just on sleepers, say you're on ESPN or CBS or Yahoo or do they have MFL on there? I think he does.
Yeah, they do, definitely.
Yeah, so if you're on MFL, so you can basically have all your leagues in one spot, right? Instead of having to go with all those different apps. And also, if you're a bettor, right, and you're betting on different sites, a lot of those sites that they have access to too. So, and do you know if you can bet directly through their site, or it just takes you to their?
It just shows you all your bets instead of having to go through all the books. You just kind of have it all right there. Shows you what you win and lost per day.
I don't know. Is Underdog on there? I don't know if it is.
I don't use Underdog like that, so I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, I wonder if it would show your best ball leagues or anything.
I think it is though.
I'll check more into it, Mel. Yeah, it's not available for Android yet. I know that they're working on it. I think they're supposed to have it at the end of this summer, but apps. I know they take a lot of work. Also, go check out Fantasy Football Advice Network. Tyler over there. I mean, Tyler's a great guy. The show tomorrow. I mean, obviously we got the show with Greg beforehand. Bob Harris is going to be on the show tomorrow. Make sure y'all come hang out. Bob Harris, football diehards. Mel was talking about him earlier. He had his show on earlier on Wednesdays, right before our show. Definitely make sure you go check the show out tomorrow. It's going to be a good time. We're going to be doing it on Twitter, on the Twitterverse of Twix, the X, whatever you call it, Twitter Spaces. Come check it out. It's going to be a great show. Obviously, it's a pregame show before tomorrow's game. New York Giants versus the Niners. And then we have the watch party. And Tyler joins us for the watch party. That's right after that show. It's always a good time. We just hang out, watch the game. Better than the Manning cast. That's what we got to say. Better than the Manning cast. We just hang out. I'm just gonna hang out, have a couple beers. We'll just talk football. Tyler will pop on. We'll talk some whatever's going on. If anybody wants to come on, we always like to welcome anybody that's part of TSA can come on and join. It's a good time. And then right after that show, Tyler has his show with the Fantasy Football Advice Network, where they just basically pull questions from their app that they developed, which is also a really, really cool app. They answered all those questions, and you can also go on the show and ask a bunch of questions. So if you have any start-sit questions or anything for the weekend that's coming up, or you want to talk anything about the game that you just watched, that's kind of what they do on that show. I hop on the show from time to time if they need anybody. So if I'm not on the show, I'm usually in the chat, chatting it up, because it's nice to be involved with them. They're doing some really, really big things. Their app is really, really cool. It's really, it's just the startup of it, and we're one of the first people that are, our community is, or our, sports affiliation is one of the first few content creators that have gotten involved with them. So as this grows, we're gonna get more and more people on there. I know Marcy won a free subscription to get on there. Come hang out. I know Tyler likes to give stuff away. He's a good dude. So if you're hanging out in the chat during the watch party, he might be feeling really, really generous and give some subscriptions away. So just come hang out. Thursdays are a good time. Friday, Coach Craig, he's got his coach goes back to college. He always talks about a specific player that's in NCAA that he's like following for the week, or somebody that he wants to talk about that he really likes. And then he also gets some bets for like DFS bets, or so if you play any, I'm not sure if he does straight up DFS, but I know for sure he gets some prop bets or prop of the week for NCAA. We don't have anything really going on Saturdays. I just sit and watch a lot of NCAA stuff from time to time, depending on the game. If it's good, I might pop on and just have a pop up NCAA, just watch along right on Twitter. But Sundays right in the morning, we got the betting show right before the game start with Iggy and with SoCal. It's a good time. They've been hitting a lot lately, and it's a good time. And then, Monday we got Monday we got the game show. Game show is always a really, really good time. Iggy puts on the game show. It's basically, fantasy sports and turned into a game show. And we have a lot of great guests that pop on there too. And then we have the watch party on Monday. So Tuesdays, obviously Tuesdays, we got off the backboard every other week with Rico. So we get some basketball talk. We got to try to keep that going year round, at least once a week or every other week. And then right after that, we got the Game Changers with Wendy and Carla, and they are going to be having Britt Flynn on this next week. So a lot of cool things going on with TSA. Make sure you go check out the website, sportsaffiliation.com. Iggy and Christina have been doing some really, really big things with our website. It's really coming along. We got a lot of articles going on there with both of our Anthony's, Fish and Two Fat Guys, been writing some pretty damn good articles. I know Farquad's been getting some stuff out. Iggy's got his daily article coming out, for Mexican Heritage Month and Latin Heritage Month, and because obviously it's all Latinos. There's a lot of stuff coming out, y'all. Make sure you get subscribed to the YouTube page. If you're somebody watching that's new, make sure you just get subscribed. It's free, and you can hang out in the chat, ask questions if you want. Make sure you guys check us out on Twitter, obviously, as well. Sports Affili. You can ask questions on there. We're going to try to have somebody more active on that page so we can get some more questions answered. Like I said, I'm going to try to get some more stuff up. And you can always just go follow, you can go find me, or you can go find, Iggy, right down here, JC Money Design, IDP Iggy. You can ask us anything. We're usually out there very, very active. Iggy's got his betting stuff going on as well. With a lot. I mean, he's got a lot of different bet stuff going on. Jailhouse bets are going out too. So, just be aware of the things that are coming out. And if anybody's looking to get involved, like I said, we're an affiliation. We're looking people to get involved with us. We're trying to make this, around the clock type thing. If anybody's trying to get out here and write, if anybody's trying to get here and bring some content, we're going to be, we got a lot of stuff to give away, a lot of stuff that we can to help y'all to grow in what you're doing. So if anybody wants to get involved with us, come holler at us. A lot of big things coming. This community is all about positivity and inclusiveness, and it's a good community, good people here. So appreciate everyone joining us tonight. Great show, Iggy. Appreciate you as always. Yeah, we can get out of here. Thanks everyone for coming and hanging out. Yeah. I'm not sure if Gemmo the Icon has his show going on after this or is going on now, but go check him out because his stuff's good too. And yes, I did get my stickers from him, Mel. I got a bunch. All his stickers are on my cooler. He comes with me to the expo if he's not there. So, all right, we're getting out of here. Peace.